Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be working on a couple farms in the border. And the first farm that I want to make is a sugarcane farm to go with my gunpowder farm so that I can have infinite rockets without having to do anything. Because rockets are just kind of one of those things that you need in a survival world when you are trying to play for the long run. So a sugarcane farm is vital to make all the rockets that I will need. And I'm planning on using a flying machine-based sugarcane farm because they can get so large and they are very lag friendly. So I'm planning on putting it somewhere right in this area, and I'm going to get started on building that with the base platform and getting all the rails in place for the hopper minecart so that I can collect all the items that way. I started work on the sugarcane farm right here, and I realized that I am running into the same problem I was running into a few episodes ago, where I don't have any redstone. And this time, instead of going mining, I'm going to get a renewable source of redstone, which is villagers. Villagers with a brewing stand actually can trade redstone, which is what I'm going to do. And I should have a whole bunch of villagers ready in here to go into trading stalls. So 3 of the guys in here are going to turn into the guys right here, and then 6 of them are going to get brewing stands so that I can trade more iron, and then I can trade the emeralds I get from the iron and make redstone. So it's basically like turning iron into redstone, which is pretty awesome. Now that I have that massive iron farm, I don't even need to really worry about having enough iron to trade. So I'm going to get those villagers into place and get started with the redstone on the sugarcane farm, and I'll show you guys the farm once it's complete. The entire farm is now done and it is working properly. The flying machine is down here, and the way that I have it timed is a Ethos Lab hopper clock, which just basically flips back and forth when all these blocks go to one side or the other. And then on the other side of the hopper clock, I have a T flip-flop so that it only activates on the rising edge. So when the repeater here gets activated, it activates this trapdoor once, so it only activates once per cycle, and then the flying machine runs and it gets returned by the return station down there and comes back and waits here once again. The only thing with the flying machine farm like this is I have to turn it off before I leave the chunk, because if it's running while I leave, which is a really rare occurrence with this slow of a timer, it could break the flying machine and then I'd have to rebuild it, but it's not that hard to build. I just have to break it and put it back here. So there's not really any way that this farm should logically break. It should never really break that often, if it does ever break in the near future. But I also hooked up all the water systems, so they all go over here, and I have minecart hopper detector systems that just detect when a minecart hopper is putting items into the hopper below the rail, and turn off the rail so that all the items leave the hopper at the same time. And then they go over to here into these auto droppers, which drop them into the water stream, which goes all the way along here and runs right next to the iron one, which actually looks really nice, and it works out because I didn't have to reuse all those blocks again, so I could save a lot of resources. And then it comes up here and goes into this barrel right here. And as you can see, I already have another barrel in place ready for another farm, and that's going to be a bamboo farm that I'm making next. So the bamboo farm is going to work basically the same as this sugarcane farm, except for it's going to have bamboo and it's going to be a lot taller and slimmer. So it shouldn't be as much work to build. The farm itself will be a lot smaller overall, but the actual bamboo grow a lot taller, so I'll get more of it. And I'm sure you guys noticed now that all the glass textures are connected because they finally released OptiFine for 1.20.1. So I updated the server and I got OptiFine, and now all of my stuff is looking awesome. All the water streams look clean and connected, and the iron farm looks 10 times better with all the connected glass textures. And even the windows on my house actually look good now. You can barely even see them there because they're just gray glass, but they look so much better than with all those crossing lines. So I'm really happy that they finally released OptiFine version 5. So now I can use it and all my builds will actually look good. But now onto the bamboo farm. Now that it's done and it is looking great, I decided to go with iron bars all the way around it because it just gives it a little bit of a different feel from this farm, and it also makes sure that all the bamboo stays in. And I also realized that if I was going to do iron bars all the way around, the bamboo could fall into the iron bar block, and then it wouldn't be picked up by the hopper minecarts going underneath it. So I made sure to make the farm small enough so that it would go over all the rails there. And I'm expecting this to produce a ton of bamboo. So I ran the water stream right next to the last one I did, and I realized that I could make all of these water streams into one water stream and then just put item sorters on all of them, but I think it's much cooler to have all the separate water streams. It just looks really cool, looks really industrial, like having a huge pipeline all coming over to here and then splitting off into their respective parts. And I put another shulker box loader on this one so that when it runs and produces a ton of bamboo, it'll all go into the shulker boxes. This farm should produce a ton of bamboo for me, which I can use to make wood, which wood is used for like everything in the game, like chests, hoppers, pistons, all that kind of stuff. I should be able to make a ton of that. And the sugarcane farm looks like it's been doing a great job of producing enough sugarcane, and I will have plenty to go with my gunpowder, which I just emptied. And bone meal is getting pretty full, so I might have to empty that soon. But I've been emptying the iron farm constantly, and it still keeps filling up. So I might have to put in some more shulker boxes here, and maybe even expand this storage from just 1 barrel to maybe 2, because it produces a ton of iron. It's just shulker box after shulker box after shulker box. That is the 2 farms that I wanted to make in this episode, but one last thing before the end. Something happened. Jack is not feeling very well. He got eaten by a zombie while I was AFKing near the villagers to get them all to grow up, and now he's a zombie. I trapped him in here though, so he hasn't died yet, and eventually I'll cure him, but right now he's just our zombie friend, Jack. He's not even a pirate anymore. He lost that when he died. So I'll have to cure him, and then he'll have really good trades for me, which is great, but I don't really need anything special from him. Can we just admire how great OptiFine looks with these farms? It looks so much better with that. Oh my gosh. I was waiting so long for OptiFine to come back. With that being said, this is going to be the end of this episode. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.